Hello and welcome. This is my 2018 Game of the Year discussion. Today we're going to go over the games I think were the best this year, and hopefully there's a few surprises in there, some twists and turns perhaps. We're going to start here with the honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is Spider-Man, a game I liked, but it didn't compel me to finish it, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who feel differently about that game, which is fine. The second honorable mention we have today is Destiny 2 Forsaken expansion. Now, this is a game that I put maybe 60 or so hours into. Liked it a lot. Gameplay is as sharp as ever. I think I wanted to play it more than my friends wanted to, and so they didn't really end up getting on as much, which kind of takes away from the fun that you can have in a multiplayer game. Another game I have on there is Sea of Thieves, which I put kind of the same deal as Destiny, where my friends just weren't into it as much as I was. You know, I kept coming back to it. I did a few Xbox party find things and had a good time with some randos, but I think sometimes you just need your mates to have the best time. Besides honorable mentions, I also have the 2018 games I plan on playing but have yet to play. I have Celeste, which I put a little bit of time into, but I really want to do a deep dive. Octopath Traveler, I love me a good JRPG, but there was competition this year, which I'll get to here in a minute. The next 2018 game I plan on playing is Astrobot Rescue Mission, which I just got my PSVR, and I'm kind of going through some of the games in that library. The other two games on this list actually have played since I've made the list, which are Beat Saber and Moss. Really enjoying both of those games. I'm not exactly sure where they would rank on my list. Best game I played from 2018 that is actually not from 2018 is Persona 5. Just beat it yesterday, last night. 110 hours invested. Love that game. Love that universe. It's probably on my top 3 RPGs of all time. Up there with Final Fantasy VII and Chrono Trigger. Probably would have been my 2017 Game of the Year had I played it in that year. For now, it's going on the best game I played this year, not from this year. That said, let's get going on my top 10 games of the year this year. So, coming in at number 10, Thronebreaker, The Witcher's Tale. Full disclosure, I haven't finished the game yet, but from what I've played so far, I really like. I like the card-based mechanics in the RPG style overworld. There's nothing else out there that's really like this game. So I've been enjoying it. Probably will beat it now that I've beat Persona 5 and kind of have some space cleared in my schedule. Number 9, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So, if you've read my list from last year, Assassin's Creed Origins was my game of the year for last year. The reason this game is so far down on my list this year is because I feel like it didn't do as much. It didn't make as big of an improvement as the first Assassin's Creed Origins made last year. There are some improvements that I like. I love the RPG style decision making, although I still don't feel like this game has quite the weight that the Witcher series, Witcher 3 has. Another thing that I didn't like about this game as much is some of the systems just didn't feel as good as last year's Origins felt. An example of that would be pretty much every time I pick up the game, I'm being chased by mercenaries, which is fine. I like fighting them. The combat is superb. It's just little things. It's annoying. There'll be like other soldiers who will just come and get involved in the fight. It's a tough battle, barely probably going to win it in the first place, and all of a sudden there's 2 more guys shooting arrows at me. So that's a little bit frustrating. I feel like the naval combat in this game, it's good, it's fine, but it doesn't really do it for me. I feel like it could have been much more. I haven't played Black Flag, but I've heard the combat from that game is a lot better. This game is probably missing cannonballs. Still liked it. Beautiful world, gorgeous graphics, um, good voice acting, whole 9 yards. Number 8 is a game I played recently. Grease. This is an indie game for the Switch and I believe PC, Steam. It is basically, a lot of people describe it as a 2D journey. That's fair enough, especially towards the beginning, but I feel like the game does enough to set itself apart from Journey by the end. Hand-drawn animation. It's truly a beautiful game. I'd compare it to Limbo as far as gameplay goes. There's puzzles, 2D puzzles, some environmental stuff. It doesn't really dive too deep into it. There's a few simple puzzles, but it's really not that like challenging of a game. Some platforming. The thing that drives you in this game is to see the more beautiful art, essentially. And the story, it's pretty loose, I would say, open to interpretation. It's probably about depression. So I would definitely recommend it. It's on Switch for about $15. Probably beat it in 4 hours or so, which to me is it's the perfect length for a game, especially after Persona and Red Dead earlier this year. The next game I got, number 7, is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I got some mixed feelings on this game. It started off really strong. I was singing this game's praises. Just the way Laura moves and handles as a character, the beauty of the environments, the environmental puzzles and interacting with the environment felt really good. The jungle's beautiful. This game has some of the best anti-aliasing I've ever seen. There's no straight edges in this game. They really did a great job. Where it falls apart for me is the game had so much promise, I felt, at the beginning, but by the end, it feels like it just, I don't want to say gave up, but I feel like it could have been a little bit more open, you know? And this series is kind of defined on having these smaller style HUD worlds that are full of little secrets and you can really explore and get into that kind of stuff. I totally get that. The story could have been more expansive. The way the Eclipse finale of the game was handled, it just didn't feel like it had a lot of weight to it. They kept referring to the Eclipse, referring to it, but there wasn't really like any time restraints in the game. You're sitting here like swimming through sewers while you're trying to beat the clock. You know, it doesn't make sense from a gameplay and mechanics interaction point of view. I wish I had a little bit more ambition with the story. It kind of did feel like the game was just ready to get to the end. Liked it, fun, great controls. Content-wise, a little disappointed. Number 6 is Detroit Become Human. Another game I haven't beat, but I'm about halfway through it. And it is fantastic. The story's great. The acting's great. I like the gameplay. It kind of reminds me of like an old school like point and click adventure, except it's a little bit more interactive, and I do appreciate that. I can't wait to see where the story goes, and I really want to go back and try some different paths because the options, they seem like they could lead to a completely different game. And if that's the case, then it might deserve a higher spot on the list because it's a really cool game. Definitely, I got it for $20 off of Amazon digitally. That's a steal. Number 5, Monster Hunter World. Feels like this game's been out for 2 years now, but it's a great game. Fell off of it after about 80 hours, which that's basically you're just getting the tutorial finished. There's a lot of DLC and stuff coming out for it. Great support for this game. It's getting like Ubisoft style support, which for a Capcom game is pretty damn impressive. Just feel like Capcom's kind of modernizing a little bit. I definitely compare them to Ubisoft as one of the most improved companies from the past couple of years. Some of my gripes with this game are the internet infrastructure kind of sucks. It's really hard to get. I just want to like group up with my friends and go. And this game makes it such a struggle, especially the first couple of weeks that this game launched. But even now, like I'll jump on, and it's a pain in the ass. You know, your friend has to do a story quest, you can't join them, they gotta invite you. I say, like, do it how Destiny did it. Just join up with your friend and go. If you're underpowered, so what? Like, that I'd rather be underpowered and play with my friends than just waiting around, for getting some kind of flare. I just didn't like the internet infrastructure. Capcom does need to work on that a little bit. A lot of tutorials too, like the whole first 50 hours, you're still getting these messages. I get it. There's a lot of systems at play here. I had the impression that part of the fun of this game was the community building based around other players telling a newbie kind of how to play the game. I will say the graphics on this game, astonishing. One of the best looking games of the year for sure. Capcom should be proud. Number 5, God of War. All right. This was a lot of people's game of the year this year. It's a great game. The story on this game was, talk about bloodlust. You're beating up Boulder, and oh my god, dude. It's like watching Rocky or something. It's so, just manly. I loved it. I love the one camera thing they somehow managed to pull off was awesome. The cinematography, or the choreography, rather, was phenomenal. The reason it's so far down on my list is I'm just not a big action, like, combat type dude. I'll try them every once in a while. Bayonetta, Ninja Gaiden. This game's, I like more relaxing type games. I'm going to be honest, I just put God of War on easy because I wanted to see the story. That's what I was here for. I wasn't disappointed. I feel like I got my money's worth. Fantastic. I can see why I got Game of the Year. Number 4, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Talk about bang for your buck. This game has so much content. I'm trying to think of another game that is just so jam-packed. And really, all I can think of are past Smash Bros. Games. And this puts those to shame. Gameplay is on point. I wasn't really expecting too much in terms of like a graphical upgrade. There's a big noticeable difference in the graphics. Just the fact that this dude had 4 years to basically build off of what was the Wii U Smash Brothers and take that foundation, which was already very solid, and refine the gameplay, but then add all this new content, new characters. It's really awesome. I wish there were more than 5 DLC characters. I kind of wish they had a thing like Overwatch, where it's just like a living game, and every X amount of like months or whenever they feel like it, come out with a new character. That to me is more appealing than just getting a season pass. I mean, even charge for the characters, you don't have to do it exactly like Overwatch. The online isn't even that bad. Hiccups here and there, but I've had fun with it. Number 3. This is a one that isn't a super popular game. I loved it. The game is Kingdom Come Deliverance. I see a lot of potential in Warhorse Studios. I think this studio is really gonna leave their mark on the industry in the next couple of years. They kind of remind me of Project CD Red, tier developer, just based on this world alone. For those who don't know, Kingdom Come Deliverance is basically a medieval simulator. You started off as a blacksmith's son. His name's Henry. No skills, can't sword fight, can't read, can't woo women, can't talk to people. You start off as this guy. Immediately upon entering this world, you notice how detailed, and it's like painstakingly detailed, and it's beautiful. So this is an indie developer who has made one of the best looking games I've ever seen. Just exploring this world is a pure joy. Just getting lost in the woods, hunting. Like even in Red Dead, I didn't really do the hunting as much. But on Kingdom Come Deliverance, once you get used to the bow and arrow, it's actually a lot of fun. The combat's okay. I didn't ever get super good at the combat. I got to the point where I could beat people, so that's about all that matters. I was having some difficulties towards the end, especially spoiler, the last raid on the castle, where there's just enemies around every corner, knights and stuff, is a lot of hard. I had way more fun in this game than I thought I would. I'm looking forward to the DLC. I've played Town Creator 1, but I ran out of money, so I need to get back in it, I guess, earn some money. I kind of feel stuck. I wish I had it on PC so I could do some mod type stuff and just kind of see the content. Give myself a couple of $1,000, hit the road running. Definitely worth $60. I got it day one. If you can find a deal on it and you like if you like Skyrim, for instance, if you like an immersive world to go and play in, highly recommend Kingdom Come Deliverance. They'd be ashamed to overlook this game. There are a few missions that really got on my nerves. The one in the monastery, I freaking hated. It almost made me quit playing the game, but I got through it and beat the game eventually. It's one of these games where you'll play it for a couple of hours every day for a week and kind of drop it and come back a month or two later and get back in it because it's just the gameplay, the world is so beautiful. 1402 Bohemia, I believe. Pick it up, check it out. This is number 2. This is my runner-up of the year. This almost was my game of the year. It still could be, I guess. I love this game. It's number 2. It's my runner-up. All right, and that is Yakuza 6. Now, I've never played a Yakuza game before. I don't know if that helped its ranking on my list, but from what I played here, just decided to dive right in after playing the demo. It's like, gotta have it. This is like some of the best storytelling in a game that I've seen. Quality of the story, the way it's shot, the way the actors and the characters behave and their interactions with each other, and the graphics even. It's really the story that won me over. I know there's famous people in this game who I don't know any Japanese actors. And so playing this, I didn't know that this dude was going to be a huge character. This guy's going to be a huge character. They all just kind of seemed like people. It was very surprising. It's a very surprising game. Gameplay, fantastic. I know that there's some criticism that this game has fewer mini games than previous Yakuza games because it's on a new engine and they just didn't have it refined as much as the old engine. I thought there were plenty of mini games. I found so much to do in this. Dude, Cat Cafe, that's like one of my favorite side quests of the year. Everything about this game, just play it. I paid $60 for it. Got my money's worth. Probably I have to look, 40 or so hours. I can see people easily putting double in that depending on how invested they got. I mean, I really want to learn how to play Mahjong now. You know? It's one that I tried a couple of times in the game, couldn't figure it out. I just need to go to YouTube and learn how to play the game because it looks like a lot of fun. Love that game. It was almost my game of the year. So this is height year this year. But let's just go ahead and get to the game of the year. Red Dead 2. All right. I know that's not a very shocking first choice. My reasoning for its being number 1 is it took both aspects of my number 2 and number 3, which are the story and the world, and they put them in one thing that had a fantastic story, HBO quality story, and it had one of the most detailed and explorable worlds I've ever seen. It's beautiful. It looks like real life. The clouds, the volumetric clouds. Are you kidding me? Just the clouds alone. It's beautiful. I really had a hard time with this game at first, especially coming off of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The gameplay in this game was way slower than it was in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Odyssey is like a arcade game, pinball game almost, where you're just bouncing around, running over houses, jumping out of trees. If you see a bad guy, just run away from him. Red Dead, the first 4 hours where it intentionally slows down the gameplay is friggin' ridiculous. It's excruciating. Like searching drawers and looking for food. I don't know who this game is made for. I feel like a lot of dude bros probably picked this game up and were immediately turned off by it, which is a shame because the game has the audacity to really ask a lot from the player and to tell the player to slow the F down because the journey is going to be worth it. And it is worth it. And a lot of things I've heard people are turned off about this game actually turn out they were put in the game for a very deliberate reason. We'll be treading on some spoilers here. So cut out if you don't want to hear any slight spoilers. In a game called Red Dead Redemption, Redemption's going to be part of the gameplay, part of the story, anyways. And so your dude has to be a horrible person starting out. And he is. He's robbing trains, hitting people in the face with pistols. I guess it's called pistol whipping. You're a bad dude. A lot of people are uncomfortable with that. I'm uncomfortable with that. I like to be in a game where given the choice, Mass Effect, whatnot, I'm always a good guy. Doing it in this, I'm like, I don't like how they take away player agency. But it makes sense in the larger context of the game, and you're actually thankful for it. Another slight spoiler is, some of the side missions I didn't really care for, like taking the little boy fishing. I get it. You're trying to. It's basically a smart way to put a tutorial into a game. You're going fishing. This is how you fish. But the way they brought that back towards the end, it was just like that's a moment that I've never experienced except for I've never experienced that in a video game. Like a callback to something so subtle. It's like, oh, that's why the game wanted me to do that, because this thing is going to pay off later, but just left up to player agency. I'm not going to do. So the fact that they kind of had the balls to force me to do some things that I didn't want to do, but I did it anyways because I trusted Rockstar, totally paid off. It's a magical game. I can definitely see it not being for everybody. I can see why God of War is a lot of people's game of the year. But this is mine. It's a little bit slower. The world building, I haven't seen anything like that since The Witcher easily. Like as far as how cinematic the game is, it's unreal. It's an HBO game. There's almost too much content. I didn't do a lot of the hunting or fishing or anything like that. I just like the story, man. That's what kept me going. That's what compelled me to finish the game, obviously. But I had this know what was going to happen. And the last, I think from chapter 4 on, made a beeline to the end of the game. Because the story, I was just in it, dude. I probably played it for a week straight full of free time. Which kind of brings me to the fact that I'm freaking done with open world games for a while. I tried to go back to Odyssey and beat that. And it's just like closing a book, It's like, got to read something that's nonfiction for a little bit. Or just something that's a change of pace. That's why I went back to Persona. Something that's a little bit more linear. And that was the perfect little combination there of gaming, as far as I'm concerned. Red Dead definitely burned me out on open world games for a while. I hope there's none coming out anytime soon, because I feel bad for him, because that was it. Like that was my open world reserve for at least the next 6 months. All right, that's my game of the year list. Put your rankings down in the description below.